Peace. What's the word, man? What's happening, everybody? How is everybody enjoying this wonderful Monday? Hopefully, y'all staying productive, peaceful, positive, powerful, black, and righteous. All of that good stuff, man. I'm going to give y'all about 3 to 5 minutes to tap in with me. Let me know how y'all living and feeling on this wonderful Monday before we dive into this subject matter and y'all see what the subject matter is all about. Y'all know how I'm about to go in on this particular subject matter. So let me know what's the word. Let me know how we living and feeling on this wonderful Monday before I dive into this subject matter, man. How we living, how we feeling on this wonderful Monday. What's the word? Tap in with me, man. I'm gonna give y'all about 3 to 5 minutes. Tap in. It's been a minute since I've been on here for the stream, but we getting back into the swing of things, man. We getting back into rhythm. We getting back consistent with the content. You know, I've been doing a lot of other things, man, just focusing on a lot of other things in my studies, just sharpening the mind. So that's why I haven't been on here tapped in as much, but we good now, man. We getting that balance back, you know, so it's all good, man. So I'm about to tap back in more frequently over the next few months. Hey, Sylvetta, peace. What's happening? How you doing, my good sister? What's the word? What's the word? How we living? How we feeling? You know, we back with having more difficult conversations, man. I see a lot of other conversations being had on social media, so I just want to bring the balance back and have the difficult conversations that I don't see and hear too often on these platforms, man. So we got to tap back in with some conversations that a lot of people be running from. You know, we got to stop running from certain conversations. We got to stop running from certain realities. MC, peace. What's happening, man? What's happening? Same to you for sure. Difficult conversations that must be had so that we can continue to evolve as a people and get back to the spot that we deserve to be in as a people. Lil LA, what's happening? Peace. What's the word? And in order for us to fully evolve and get back into a certain type of spot, we got to have difficult conversations. Especially in the black community, man, y'all know how popular it is to sweep a lot of things under the rug. We got to stop doing that, man. We sweep a lot of things under the rug, and I'm here to pull that rug up, man. We about to reveal a lot of the stuff that's been swept under the rugs in the black community. Hey, Mahogany, oh shoot, yeah, it's been a while for sure. Yeah, hey, I ain't seen your name on this joint in a minute, but for sure, appreciate you tapping in. Appreciate you tapping in for sure. Y'all already know. Oh yeah, you already know about this topic, man. I feel like it's a very large community of people such as myself that we don't have a lot of places we can go to have these type of conversations, man, when it comes to being non-religious in a black household. I feel like it's a lot of people that share my sentiments, that share my perspective, and we just not able to have conversations because we cannot have these conversations with our family members because y'all know how that go. When you try to bring the non-religious perspective to your religious family, that never goes well. And then you get blamed with being a troublemaker. Man, people that got called devils, demons, all type of stuff. Man, I done heard a lot of stories from people that's in the same boat as me that try to have conversations with their religious family members and they get called every evil name under the sun. Nobody has time for that, especially coming from people who claim or profess not to judge people for looking at the world differently. So when you profess to not being judgmental, then I feel like I can have a conversation with you, or at least I should be able to have a conversation with you. You know, and the moment you say, we don't judge this and that, then I had a conversation with you, and the first thing you do is judge, man, I'm only gonna take that for so long, man, before I like remove myself from the situation entirely. Like for real. Hey, Tayson, what's happening? But I want to ask you all a question. You know, the people that can relate to this topic and this subject matter, I want to ask you all a question, and you can answer this question, or you can answer your answer to the stream. When did you all's journey begin as far as the moment you kind of started to question your religious upbringing, if you were brought up in a religious type of environment, do you remember the year exactly when you woke up and said, you know what? I don't think this is the right life for me. What year was that for you all? You know, it started happening for me around the time, like around 2009. That's when I started to say, you know what? I don't think this path is my path. And that led to me studying different things. But when did you all, if you remember the year exactly, what year was it for you that you said, you know what, man, I'd have been brought up in this Christian household, this Baptist household, this Catholic household, whatever. I don't think this is for me. What year was that for you? What age was it? Whatever, however you want to break it down to me. Like I said, for me, it was around maybe 2009-ish. AMT, peace. What's happening? For sure. Been a minute. Hey, it's been a minute for some of y'all tapping in, but it's also been a minute for me streaming, man. I fell off the wagon a little bit, man. Just focused on some other things. Y'all know how life get. King girl, what's happening? But what year was it for you? Or what age was you? What age were you when you woke up and said, you know, nah, like this religious lifestyle is not for me. Like I've broken down my path multiple times on these streams. You know, when it comes to not being religious, like I'm seriously non-religious. Like I'm not even, like you got people that say they not religious and they spiritual. Like I skipped that part, not skipped it, but like I don't even be subscribing to some of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm deep off in the trenches when it comes to just not being religious. Like that stuff is literally not for me. I even had a period where I tried it. Like I was like, you know what? Before I fully denounce it, let me give this a shot. Let me give it one last shot. Let me see if this for me. And I've told this story, but man, I was like, let me get this one last shot. And that was right around my senior year of high school. He's like, you know what? One last shot. I don't think this stuff is for me, but I'm gonna give it one last shot, man. Let me try to find a little church. Let me go to church for a little second to see if I'm just tripping. And I did, and that may have lasted 2-3 weeks for me. And I was like, yeah, nah, this just not it, man. It's not my path. This just is not for me. And I feel like that should be okay, but it's really not in the Black community. You know, it's not. It's not at all. Like in the Black community, it's not okay. No matter how many times your family tells you that it's okay, they really don't believe it, because this is one of the things that may seem harmless, but it's really offensive. They may think it's harmless, but this really offends me, and this is how I know you don't respect my beliefs. The moment you say, when you discover that I'm on a certain path and you start saying you're gonna pray for me, that sounds harmless, and it may sound like I'm being a Grinch, or it may sound like I'm just being a negative dude, but that's offensive, because you are saying that using the tone of, oh, I'm praying for you so that you can one day discover the light and stop walking down that dark path. I don't like that. That's almost like me saying, man, I'm going to send some positive energy in your direction when I discover that you are a Christian or a Baptist or whatever the case may be. I don't do that. I let you have your belief system, and I'm cool with, hey, if that helps you sleep at night, so be it. I don't have to send positive energy in your direction, hoping that one day you find out the truth that I done found out and discovered. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say, man, I'm going to meditate for you. I'm going to journal for you so that hopefully one day you can see the light. No, I don't do that. Once I find out whatever your religious belief is or your religious background is, the only thing that I know at that point is, and the only thing that I do is make adjustments in regards to how I talk to you, because now I know your background. That's all that I do. I'm not about to sit here and say, well, I'm going to pray for you because now I done found out that you hold a certain type of beliefs that go against mine. No. So to me, and I could be tripping, but I get offended by that. I get offended by a person that's consistently praying for me because I don't believe in what folks believe in. Don't do that. I'm cool. I don't need those prayers, fam. Trust me. I'm just fine whether you pray for me or not. Trust me. Do not need anybody's prayers, especially if they are not genuine, especially if you are praying for me to come to some sort of light, I'm good. Trust me. Please leave me out of your prayers if that is the case. If you are praying for me because of that, I'd rather you not include me. Trust me. Trust me. Clock saying what's happening. Ooh, what's happening? Let me see. I didn't forgot to see the answers. Or TZ, what's happening? Where we at? Sylvetta, you say Christians judge the most? For sure. And you know what? And they do it. And then when we say Christian nowadays, because you got Christian, I was raised Baptist, right? You know, that's what we got. But I'm not gonna say it's all the same thing. There are minor differences, but they might as well be the same freaking thing because a lot of them don't even really know the differences, you know. And I got a lot of things attached to my background. Went to a Lutheran high school, went to a Catholic college, so I done seen it all. So that's why when people assume that I don't know some things, and that's why I'm walking down the path I'm walking, boy, little do they know. You know, I done had to take all these classes. I done had to pass tests. I done had to recite verses of all of that. I didn't have to do all of these things, right? But in my experience, but we can only go off of what we are surrounded by the most. So I was surrounded by that the most. So of course I feel like they judge me the most. But I didn't got judged by all backgrounds for real. I didn't been judged by Hebrew Israelites. I didn't been judged by Christians. I didn't been judged by certain Muslims. I didn't been judged by a lot of folk. But the Christians judge in a way that's subtle. They want to make it seem like they don't judge, but they do. And they would do. And to what I was talking about earlier, when they say, I'm going to pray for you, see, that's judging, but they won't admit that. So that's how they judge. And they judge in a way that I can't stand because they try to be subtle and indirect. They try to be subtle and indirect with it. So you got to catch them because they won't directly come out. Some of them will. You know, they're not going to be direct like a Hebrew Israelite to just tell you that you flat out crazy for what you know what I'm saying, for what you think. You know, some of them may do it, but for the most part, when I'm having conversations with them, man, they be indirect with it. You know, they may hint at certain things to let you know that they not too fond of what it is that you saying and believing in. And then once you respond to it, they act like you attack them. And then they try to go on this tirade about, oh, Christianity is y'all always attacking us because of our religious beliefs. For the life of me, when certain religious folks say that, I never understand what they're talking about. I don't be knowing what world people live in because for the most part, I don't ever see the attacking of these religions the way folks be out here professing that they are being attacked. I never see it. Like, I never see it. I might see it 2% of the time. But most of the time when I'm online, when I'm having regular conversations, I just see folks throwing their religious beliefs out there as if everybody believes in these things. That's what I see. I don't see people attacking religious folks. So when people be like, man, y'all always attacking religious folks and it's a war on religion, I never see that. I never see it. I'm not saying it ain't happening, but I don't see it. I get attacked way more for the way I see the world than my religious brethren, you know, my religious family. They don't ever get attacked for their religious beliefs. I ain't never seen my people get attacked for their religious beliefs in a day-to-day world, in their day-to-day lives. I never see that. I ain't never seen it. In their day-to-day lives, their day-to-day everyday lives, I don't see folks attacking folks' religion. I see folks attacking people such as myself because I didn't been attacked. And I didn't been attacked in a way to where, like I say, I'm not directly trying to go out and have conversations, but folks just start assuming things. Folks just start assuming things, so they throwing things out there when they don't even be knowing. They could be in a room full of people and they don't know what people fully believe, so they start saying things that could be offensive. And I'm like, man, you don't know what everybody in this room believes, man. You might not want to say that. And it might be something pertaining to how I see the world. That didn't happen to me quite often, fam. That happens to me quite often. Quite often, I must say. But let me see what we got. 16 years old. And I'm trying to tell you, we got 16. Mahogany, you said you was in college, 07. You was 19. Very hard for me to stop acting like I believe. I wanted to believe so bad. I'm trying to tell you. And that's another, man. I tried. I tried. It just, for one, it didn't feel right for me. And I started studying. the deciding factor for me, this is one of the things that really just got me. For me to sit down, this is what really got me, man. For me to sit down and say, this one particular religion and everything that comes with it is right and exact, and all these other ones are wrong, logically didn't make any sense to me. Logically, I'm like, that don't make any sense. There's no way I can say, okay, this one lifestyle is right and exact, and everything that comes with it is right and exact. And all these other lifestyles, all these other millions of lifestyles are wrong. Historically inaccurate, just the beliefs, everything just inaccurate. And then the crazier part is how related and how similar some of them are. So I'm like, what are you even denouncing at the end of the day? I remember I used to have conversations with certain Christians and folks that adhere to the Bible. I'm like, man, have you ever even read about these other religions to be denouncing them and calling them wicked and evil and wrong? I'm like, do you hear what they are saying? I remember I simply asked a person that's like a Christian about Buddhism. And before I was able to even elaborate on Buddhism, they immediately called it evil and wicked. Just off of the name and the mention alone, called Buddhism wicked and evil, and said those people are going to hell because, first of all, because of their geographical location. You know, if you was born and raised in Asia, the chances are very high, very high that you may get introduced to Buddhism. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of this is geographical location based. You know what I'm saying? So now a certain group of people are getting condemned to your hell, which is total nonsense to me, if you ask me. But a certain select group of people are being condemned to hell simply because they was born in a certain area. How is that their fault? If I was born in the Middle East and the popular religion is Islam, now I'm condemned to hell because I was born here. I was born in the Middle East. I was born in a country where the popular religion is Islam. How am I condemned to hell? That makes zero sense. That makes absolutely no sense. So when I started thinking about stuff like that, I said, man, I'm like, this stuff is childish, fam. And it only further adds on to the division. You know, so once I started to come across these realizations and these conclusions, man, I had to do away with it. I had to do away with it fully. If I'm embracing a lifestyle and I got to sit here and say all these other lifestyles are wrong, I can't do that. I'm like, man, have y'all read about some of these other like you see what this is saying? Like, I can't read about Buddhism and say, nah, this is wrong because they don't believe in, they haven't accepted your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Nah, some of this stuff in Buddhism changed my life. I'm not ever about to sit here and call them people evil and wicked when they got some things in their doctrines that have changed my life. I got introduced to meditation via Buddhism. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not about to ever denounce that. You know, I learned how to, my whole perception of suffering, man, and how to deal with it and how to view it, how to look at it differently. I learned that through Buddhism. I'm not about to denounce that because of who they worship, which technically they not even supposed to worship Buddha, just like Christians not supposed to be worshiping Jesus. This was never intended, right? This is never what was intended. That's not how the stuff's supposed to go. We humans got to be worshiping, idolizing folks, but that's never how it was supposed to go in the beginning. You know, Buddha, just like the Christ, it's a title, fam, enlightened one. You know what I'm saying? So people don't be knowing that. They don't worship, at least they not supposed to worship the Buddha that everybody knows. The Buddha is simply a title or a label that means the enlightened one, you know, and that's what you are striving towards, enlightenment. You know, so again, people be having this misunderstanding of some of these other cultures and religions, and they call these people evil and wicked and condemn them to eternal damnation for no reason, and you have no knowledge of them. That's ignorant to me. And I don't like to live in ignorance, fam. I don't like to live in ignorance. I don't know about you all, but I don't like to live in ignorance. I don't like to live in ignorance. And don't get me started on not liking to live in ignorance too. Don't get me started on that. Because I didn't been this is the funny part. Y'all know that I'm an avid reader. Y'all see the books. Y'all see the books behind me. Y'all know, y'all have heard this. This is popular amongst especially like the Christians and the Catholics and the, you know, the Baptists and all of that. When they start to basically make it appear as if striving to attain all of this knowledge is evil and it corrupts the mind. Y'all know the quote. I'm not even about to hit y'all with the quote, but y'all have heard that. So when you start to read, they basically start to say all these books are corrupting your mind. These books are evil, and this is why you are deviating from the right path. Little do people don't understand this right here. I can speak for myself. I can't speak for everybody else. But I didn't read books and then my mentality changed. My mentality changed, and then I sought after books to confirm what I already was thinking. So my mindset had already changed and shifted prior to me reading these books. If anything, I grabbed the book so that I can confirm something that I already felt in my heart and mind. I just wanted to get the facts to back up what I felt. That's it. But I already felt this way. And unlike some of y'all, some of us like to get the facts to back up what we think and what we feel. That's all that it is. So my mind was already shifting based off of observations, based off of how I was feeling. That's when I started to seek out certain books. I didn't just start reading and just was gullible and naive to everything that I read. No, the books that I sought after or sought out, it was intentional. I intentionally gravitated towards some of these books that I got because I was already feeling a certain type of way. I didn't just randomly go into a bookstore and say, oh, why am I not a Christian? Oh, that's interesting. Let me get that. Oh, I'm gullible and naive. I'm going to believe everything in this book. No, every book I got, it was intentional because in my mind, I already felt a certain type of way. And I said, you know what? Let me find a book to see if I'm not the only one with this state of mind. I'm not alone. So that's why I was grabbing books, because I couldn't talk to anybody in my family about it. Everybody in my family is religious. So I had to go find books that made me feel like, okay, somebody else has been through this path. Somebody else has had this thought process too. You're not alone. And here's how I dealt with it. Here's where this led me. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I went and grabbed a lot of the books that I grabbed. And so I ain't just start reading and then just become corrupted. And these books persuaded me. I'm not gullible. And it's crazy that religious folks tell me that when they allow a book to control them and corrupt them. That's funny. So if these books collectively are corrupting me, what is your one book doing for you? That's my question to you. If all of these books collectively are corrupting my mind and got me going crazy, what is that one book doing for you? It's making you just as delusional as you claim I am, if you ask me. If I'm delusional and if I'm crazy and evil and wicked and corrupted because I read books, you reading one book makes you just as crazy, delusional, corrupted, wicked, and all of that. Because at the end of the day, is that Bible, is that correct? Is it not a book? Like, come on now. But let me see. You say I started with studying Orthodox Islam when I was in Germany. Hey, for sure. You know, I had my period. I still got a lot of my books on Islam and things like that. Still got my Quran in here. You know, we study everything. Hey, Todd, peace. What's happening? Oh, that Zeitgeist. Oh, yeah, man. I remember Zeitgeist, the Obama deception. And I remember all of that. I remember that period heavily. And that's when folks really thought I had lost all my marbles, man. It's crazy. It's crazy just how folks just started to think I went crazy. Man, I became vegetarian. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I started reading books. Man, started watching documentaries. Stopped going out and partying. Started listening to different types of music. Man, folks thought I went crazy. Now, what did I name to you that sounds crazy? All I just said was I read books, watched documentaries, went vegetarian, stopped partying. Now, what about that says you done went crazy? So it's funny to me when you start making moves like that, folks like, oh man, dude, done went crazy. Man, I got healthier. I was having all type of health complications that folks don't know about. So I changed up my eating habits. I said, you know what? I'm tired of being ignorant to a lot of stuff out here. Let me crack open a few books. I said, you know what? I don't care about the party scene. Let me stop doing that. I said, I'm tired of hearing this mainstream music is destructive and derogatory and degrading. Let me find more music with a message. Ain't none of that crazy. none of that is crazy. Clock saying, hey, you already know, hit me up for sure. Hey, the main line, peace. Appreciate the donation. Appreciate that donation for sure. You say my mom's a pastor, and I came out the closet 3 years ago. After years of being in it, never felt myself until I did. It was not easy, but we have a better relationship than before. I do me, she does her. We have an understanding, and that's how I should be. And I forgot to elaborate on coming out the closet. See, when we hear coming out the closet, we think about people's sexuality. Hey, sexuality is not the only thing that people keep confined within a closet, fam. Religious beliefs are definitely one of them. You know how many people are holding on to a certain perspective, keeping it confined within a closet because they don't want to offend and upset their family members. You know how many people are living like that? And that's just one thing, because that's the topic. But it's a lot of other perceptions and perspectives. Political views is another thing. You know, when you have that far left field view, a lot of times we tend to keep that in the closet. Like, man, I don't feel like having that conversation with my people. I don't feel like rubbing my folks the wrong way. I'm worried about how they may perceive me. So we tend to keep a lot of this stuff in the closet because these people are not as open-minded as they profess and proclaim to be. So being in a closet is far deeper than your sexuality. Your religious perspective, a lot of times we keep that confined within a closet, fam. I'm not gonna lie, I was full-blown not believing in anything, bro. And that was all in the closet. Folks ain't know that. I kept that under wraps. I'm like, man, I don't believe none of this. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe none of this. I'm non-religious to the core. I don't believe none of this, you know? And I had to keep that in the closet, man. I'm like, man, I'm young, you know? Man, you never know how that's going to be perceived by your people. So you like, man, you know what? I'm just not even going to say nothing. I'm going to keep this to myself. And it's not healthy, fam. Because again, like I said, man, these religious folks are bold. They don't mind throwing out certain religious terms and concepts in the conversation because they assume that everybody that looks like them at least believes in some type of God, so to speak. Trust me, there are some who don't. And you know what I'm saying? Like, we need to adhere to that fact. Not everybody believes in that, fam. You know, so that's why I choose my language carefully when I'm having conversations with folks. Because I don't know what somebody believes. I'm not about to just start talking about Jesus in a room full of people, man. It might be 4 or 5 people that don't believe in that. You know, I need to gauge the temperature of the room so that I can know how to have these conversations with them. If you do believe in Jesus, I know how to talk to you. If you don't, I know how to talk to you. But one thing I'm not going to do is assume just because you black, you're religious, you believe in Jesus. I'm not going to assume that, fam. And I think black people need to stop doing that. That pretty much grinds my gears, fam. Like, you having a regular conversation with somebody and they throwing all these religious concepts out into the conversation. Especially when the conversation didn't have anything to do with that, fam. Why are you inserting this religious tone into this conversation? We talking about something completely non-religious, fam. And you throwing out all of these religious concepts and words. Stop doing that, fam. We gotta stop doing stuff like that, fam. I'm speaking on behalf of the community that reflects the mindset that I have. We do not like that, you know, and we, again, a lot of times by choice, because we get tired of being viewed as the troublemaker or the person that's trying to start an argument all the time. A lot of times, man, we just let y'all say what y'all say. But we only can allow that to happen for so long, man. That's part of holding emotions in. When we allow you to continue to talk about your system of belief, not in a way of you just saying how it helped you, but when you throwing it out in a way to where you think that that's what I believe in and how the world needs to follow suit, now it's like, come on, now you pushing it. Now you pushing it. Well, LA for sure. You know, if I didn't ask for you to pray for me, don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, straight up. That may sound mean, that may sound how it sounds, but people know what I stand on. So the only time people are inserting me in any type of prayers these days is because of something I done said, and they feel like I done lost my mind. So nah, if I didn't ask for you to pray for me, don't do it. I can do enough of the positive affirmations on my own, and I know enough genuine people that's putting positive energy in my direction anyway. So I don't need for somebody to be praying for me when it's disingenuous, man. Like, straight up. I don't need for you praying for me just because you think I'm crazy because of stuff I'm saying. No, I'm good on that. You know, I'm straight. Don't pray for me because you think I'm crazy, because I promise you I'm not. You heard something I said, it went against what you said, and that's all it is. You don't need to pray for me. There's plenty of other ways that you can show some support for your boy. You don't need to be praying for me because you think I done deviated from the right path. No, everybody's path is different. Dead Prez got the song called No Way Is the Way. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's journey is different, fam. LA, I didn't seen that firsthand. Dread Mike, you say me and my mom believe differently. For sure. Same here. Yeah, I would say me and my entire family. It might be some people in my family that I don't know that may look at the world the same way. I might have a few that, you know, we can kind of chop it up on certain things, but for the most part, I'm the lone soldier in my immediate fam that has the views that I have. So it makes it hard to just I don't know about y'all, but it'd be challenging, fam, to just be in certain environments with family when you are that person. You know, because like I said, you try not to come off a certain type of way, but man, at a certain point, that stuff starts to get a little like redundant. You know, it starts to get a little redundant, fam. Like, all right, man, like I can't keep being in these environments. Like, this just ain't how I see things, you know, and y'all getting a little too carried away with it. You know, if you're not going to be open to the opposite side, like I can't keep placing myself in this environment respectfully. You know, like open up the dialogue. But instead, like I say, it's subtle. You know, when you start saying Jesus is the only way, and I can't tell you how many times I done heard that in my presence. Like, that's been said in my presence. When you start saying things like that, man, I can only hear that so many times before I'm ready to say, okay. Like, okay. But then the moment we respond, that's when we give you in the most treacherous light. Like, we the troublemakers. Like, you didn't went out your way to continue to tell me Jesus is the way a million times, knowing that that's not how I see it. But I'm the troublemaker when I respond and say, you know what? Hold up. I'm tired of you saying that. So you not trying to start trouble when you keep throwing that out in the atmosphere when you know it's people out here that don't believe that. The moment somebody responds, now you want to act like you being attacked. I can't stand that. Can't stand it. can't stand that, fam. Can't stand it. MTs, I can relate. I really tried. I even went back to church when I was going through a hard time. I felt like a fraud for sure. Yep. I went to church, bro. I went back to church. I went back to church, sat there maybe 2 or 3 weeks and was like, It just it ain't feel right with me. You know what I'm saying? You know when something is not for you, you feel it. Like the feeling was like, nope. And then people start saying things like, oh man, you just ain't talk to the right person. You just ain't go to the right church. And miss me with that, fam. Like the whole belief system in and of itself does not sit right with me. It doesn't matter what pastor I talk to. Doesn't matter what church I attend. Everything about it doesn't sit well with me, you know? So that's what it is. I ain't got to talk and don't disrespect the people that I've had conversations with. I got an uncle that's a pastor. So when you on the outside and you tell me, oh, you just ain't went to the right church or talk to the right folks. Nah, my uncle is very well qualified to preach and teach his religion. So if he wasn't able to get through to me, I promise you, your church and your pastor is not. I respect my uncle. Hey, I don't have, it's not too many people that I respect more than my uncle. So don't disrespect the folks that I've had conversations with. This stuff just isn't for me. It ain't got anything to do with the people that I done talked to. It ain't got anything to do with the pastors, the people that tried to instill the religion in my head. It has nothing to do with them. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. They did a tremendous job, man. My grandfather, my uncle, they know the Bible left and right, front and back. Has nothing to do with them. They didn't mess up. They didn't teach it wrong. They didn't preach it wrong. None of that. It just doesn't sit well with me because it's just not for me. That's it. You can get the most convincing preacher up there, and I'm still going to be like, nope, because I listen to these convincing preachers. I listen to these pastors that got mega churches, that got cult followings. They don't do it for me. I done been in environments and churches where everybody catching this Holy Ghost, and I'm just staring there. I'm just there with the stale face. It's not moving me, fam. It doesn't do the same for me that it does for other people. It doesn't arouse me like that. It doesn't rile me up like that. Doesn't do it because it's not for me. You know, and I try to be respectful with that until folks disrespect me. Now, when I'm on my platform, I can say whatever I want to say. But when I'm in the presence of other folks, when I don't really know how they move and what they believe in, I keep conversations respectfully when it comes to that, or respectful when it comes to that, until the topic comes up and folks start disrespecting some stuff that I stand on. Then it's like, okay, hold up. Now we got to have this conversation. We ain't going to do that. Mahogany, what you say? I remember asking questions in church. I was raised Southern Baptist and no one wanted to answer. The questions I was told was being blasphemous by just asking questions because you don't question God. For sure, you already know Southern Baptist here to a core, Mississippi. So you already know I know. You better not ask questions. That's the most forbidden thing when it comes to that, is asking questions. Don't do it. You could be asking the most basic of questions. Don't do that, especially as a kid. Especially as a kid. You better not do that. Been there, done that. And so then what that leads to you doing is keeping everything to yourself. And then people will be like, well, you don't say nothing. Why you don't speak? Because when I try to ask questions, I got shunned for doing so. I tried to ask questions. I tried to open my mouth, let y'all know what I stand for and stand on. Or I tried to gain clarity and gain an understanding. But y'all told me we just don't question God. Okay, if I can't question something and asking questions is a part of me talking, and you told me I can't do it, then I'm going to keep it to myself. So it's going to be a lot about me that you don't know because you told me I can't ask questions. And I had a lot of questions about this. Uniquely meditative, for sure. Allegorically is the only way that it made sense to me. And that's how I started to reinterpret everything. You know, the parables, the allegory, like I started to read it, not to even disrespect folks' religion, but I started to read it like it was fiction, you know, or I started to read it and put things into a metaphysical lens. And that's when it was like, okay, now I can make sense of these, but not even make sense of it, because even without me doing that, I know what I read. I comprehended what I read. I'm just like, nah, y'all really, some of this stuff I know y'all realistically do not believe actually occurred. Until I started to talk to people and they literally told me they believe this actually occurred. Like, you literally believe the earth or the world is this many years old according to this Bible, when that has been proven to be incorrect. I remember I saw a poll and it said something along the lines of, if we can scientifically disprove your religion or whatever the case may be, it was something like, I'm paraphrasing it. The question was like, if we could scientifically disprove your religion, how many of you all would still be religious or still hold on to your religion? And it was like 70-80% of people said, I still hold on to my religious belief. First of all, because it's a belief, it don't have really anything to do with facts. It has more to do with like faith and belief, you know. So that didn't surprise me that people were saying, even if you scientifically can show and prove that what I'm believing is not accurate or it didn't physically happen, that I would still hold on to these beliefs because it's a belief. It ain't got anything to do with facts. It didn't say, would you hold on to these facts? It said, hold on to your religious belief, fam. You know what I'm saying? So that didn't surprise me. But I was like, dang, man, you could literally give people the full-blown evidence to show and prove that this is inaccurate, and they're going to still be like, oh, well, I still believe it. That's when I was like, whoa. Ty, appreciate that, man. Appreciate the donation, man. You say it's judgment time for the church. We've been down for too long. Say we've been down for too long. I already know. Uniquely meditative. Hey, Terenzo, peace was happening. Uniquely meditative. That's proud. Hey, I didn't been told some very crazy things. I didn't been told the craziest thing I was told, because I'm in the health and fitness space. The craziest thing I was told was that, I'm gonna paraphrase it, but it was along the lines of, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what goes inside of the mouth. Like, what goes in the mouth is not important. It's basically, I don't want to say the intentions, but basically praying over the food is what makes the food healthy. So it really doesn't matter what I eat. As long as I pray over the food, everything is okay. Like, I didn't think people really truly believed that until somebody was like adamantly arguing with me about that. Like, they, like, literally, this was like, this person was dead serious about what goes inside, like what you put inside your body don't matter. It doesn't matter. And when they told me that, I was like, you know how many folks I know that pray over food that got every health ailment under the sun? I'm not going to reveal personal information, but man, I know too many people that pray that not only have suffered from ailments, but have died from ailments and prayed over their food every day. So I'm like, man, you cannot think that makes any sense to say what you are saying to me right now. You can't think that makes any sense. So I say, wow, folks willing to put anything inside their bodies long as they pray for it. And they feel like if I don't pray over these fruits and vegetables, then it don't do nothing for me. It ain't enhancing my immune system. It ain't giving me energy through this workout. None of this is happening. Like, that was the craziest thing I've ever heard. Like, that was probably one of the craziest things I've ever heard in my life. Like I knew that it was a thing, but like in my adult life, I never heard somebody speak it with conviction. Like, nah, like, it don't matter what you eat. You gonna pray over the food like it's unhealthy. What? And I can eat whatever I want to eat as long as I pray over it. Like, I didn't, in my adult life, I hadn't heard that. I hadn't heard somebody argue that. Like, I've heard people, you know, you grow up, you praying over the food, but I hadn't heard somebody actually speak on it with that type of conviction. When somebody told me it doesn't matter what you put inside your mouth, like somebody told, I said, wow, okay. King Ock for sure. You know, my thing is, I'm pretty neutral because I don't I don't initiate conversations. For one, y'all know I'm introverted to the core, so I'm really not trying to talk to begin with. I'd rather just sit with my books and read and be left alone. So I'm not going to initiate. I'm not trying to start no trouble because I don't want to talk to begin with, fam. You know what I'm saying? So when I do get in them environments, I'm really not saying nothing. The only time I am going to speak is when somebody asks me a question or somebody just keeps going on about something that's just wrong, fam, or just offensive. Then I'm like, all right, hold up. But I'm never going out of my way to say, y'all believe this, y'all foolish. No, I'm never going to do that. Because like I say, for one, I already probably don't want to talk in the first place, let alone going back and forth. Like, I value my peace, so I'm not trying to start that type of conversation. But if you keep pushing the issue, like, I got some integrity and I got some stuff that I stand on that, like, I'm going to defend at a certain point. Now, if I know that you just don't really know what you're talking about, I might, you know what I mean? Like, I might let you get your rocks off because I can see that you're ignorant, but if I feel like I can have a little conversation with you, then we going to have it. Amy, you say church is what made me atheist. I went to several denominations, but none of it resonated with me. I don't believe in Santa Claus either. Hey, for sure. And I see things like, and again, this is no knock on anybody who is about to allow their children to believe in Santa and acknowledge Santa Claus. No knock, no disrespect. But I be seeing posts like the people going in and going off on folks who choose to tell their children the truth about all of this. We get labeled the Grinch. We get accused of ruining the childhoods for children. That's crazy to me. Oh, you're not about to ruin that child's that you're not about to ruin his childhood by telling him Santa Claus. How is that ruining a childhood? What are y'all on? Children are some of the easiest people to make happy. By you, first of all, we should have never been lying to him in the first place, if you ask me. That's the thing we don't understand. The ruining part is the fact that they found out that they've been lied to. That's what's ruining them. Not that I told them the truth. Me telling a child the truth is not ruining them. What ruined them is the fact they like, man, these folks been lying to me. Because that's how I felt. When I came across the truth, I was like, damn, I wasn't mad at the truth. I was mad at the folks that been lying to me. Them the first people I went to. I was like, man, y'all been telling me about this for all these years, man. Why y'all just ain't telling me the truth? That's what upset me. I wasn't mad at the truth. The truth didn't ruin my childhood. I went right to the people like, man, why was y'all telling me this garbage? Because I already knew this. Why didn't y'all just come out and tell me? Believing in Santa Claus wasn't making me happy. That stuff was, but I can't really remember when it fully resonated with me, but I never subscribed. Like, I never felt like that was a thing. It never made sense. Like, I knew that was my people from the earliest. First of all, we got to stop thinking kids are dumb. And we got to stop thinking kids need all of these fantasies to have a good childhood and fun. Somebody saying Santa Claus is not real, it's not going to ruin a child's childhood. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to do that. When I found that out, it didn't ruin my life. It confirmed once again what I already knew, because children are not dumb. You telling folks about chimneys and mugs ain't even got a chimney. You know what I'm saying? Like, children ain't dumb. It's not somebody getting through a chimney. Like, we're not stupid. When you think about what you telling me at 4 or 5, kids have common sense. I'm like, what? He get the reindeers and he come through it down the chimney, huh? I'm like, man, as a kid, I'm like, this don't make any sense. It makes zero sense what y'all telling me. Y'all might as well tell me what it is. Y'all coming through the back door, y'all hide these gifts in the basement or whatever, and when I go to sleep, y'all bring the gifts up. That makes way more logical sense. That's what I'm piecing together. Obviously, if somebody was coming through a chimney, I'm going to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Like, this stuff don't make any sense. I'm like, y'all ain't making sense. Don't make sense. All these people in the world, I'm supposed to believe, mugs touching in all these cribs, going through everybody's chimney, walking through people's front doors, and getting done with this in overnight. Come on, man. Like, this is how I'm piecing stuff together as a kid. So I like, Quit telling folks they ruining kids' childhoods and upbringing by telling them the truth. Because no, we're not. These kids ain't asked to believe in no Santa Claus. Y'all forced that on them. This was adults forcing that on them. These kids ain't coming out the womb saying, I want to believe in Santa Claus. No, you're forcing that on them. These kids are not asking to believe in some of this stuff. You are making them believe in it. It's your tradition. So stop making it seem like the kids are asking for this. You can have a Christmas without Santa Claus, fam. You can have that. And it will not take away from the excitement of your son or daughter opening up their new gaming system, knowing that Mom Dukes bought it and wrapped it up for them, opposed to some white dude with a beard. This is not taken away from it. If anything, they're going to appreciate you more. So stop missing me with that, man. Y'all better stop disrespecting the intelligence of children. Because when I was 4 or 5, I don't know about y'all, but I pieced the Santa Claus stuff together real quick. Easter Bunny, all that sounded garbage to me. Monsters under the bed. I'm like, man, if y'all don't miss me with that, man, horror films was my favorite genre growing up. So I debunked all of that stuff early. Y'all couldn't spook me nor get me to believe in any of these fantasies because I'm thinking logically. Because as a kid, that's what you do. One thing a kid gonna do is tell you the truth and use the common sense that they have. They gonna be like, the first thing a kid, when you tell a kid something, the first thing they gonna do is ask you a very common sense question. When you say Santa Claus comes down the chimney, the first thing a kid gonna start asking is, well, what is a chimney? Where is our chimney? How does he get down the chimney? If you didn't been amongst the kid, that's how they gonna start asking questions. You know that if they don't know something, they gonna ask you, what is that? How do they do that? How can he get that? How can he make it to everybody's house on December 24th at night? Like, that's what a kid gonna ask you. When you get that story to a kid, they gonna start asking the most logical questions. But they get shunned from doing that early on in the game. And then we turn into teenagers and adults that hold stuff in and don't want to ask questions. But I done been around enough kids to know, as soon as you break down something to them, first thing they're gonna start doing is asking you very logical questions that make people mad. Well, what is it? What is a chimney? So where's our chimney? And so how he gonna get down the chimney? And how long that's gonna take? I'm trying to tell you, man, kids ask them type of question to the point where it gets annoying. I didn't been in the presence of kids, man, that I'm ask you question after question. They trying to get to the root of what you just said because that's the only way to gain an understanding. That's the only way to gain an understanding is to ask questions. And I done seen people get mad when all the child is trying to do is gain understanding. That's why they asking questions. Well, you like, man, mommy got to go to work. What is work? Where do you work? How far does, you know what I'm saying, man? If you done been around I done been around some kids that ask a lot of questions. And if you just not in the right mind, you'll get annoyed. Then you realize, like, man, they don't know. They ain't never heard what work is. Like, they don't know. So they asking real legitimate questions. So the first thing a kid is going to do is try to make sense of what you're telling them. And they're going to use the best logic I've ever seen. The best logic. The kids got the greatest logic. That logic gets corrupted over time by adults. I've seen kids being a vegetarian and vegan. I've seen kids naturally like, no, I don't want to eat that meat. That don't even look appealing. I've seen it. I've seen people try to tell kids why we celebrate Christmas and it being the birthday of Jesus. And I've seen kids question that. How do y'all know that's when he was born? I've seen it. I've seen little kids ask these questions. Folks get mad. Well, because it said in the woo. Well, how did they know? Well, because if God told it, like, I didn't see it. I didn't see that process outside of me doing it. I didn't see other kids. That's the first thing kid gonna do is try to make sense. Best thing you can do is give them an answer. And if you do not know the answer, don't make up nothing. Go find the answer. Terenzo, appreciate the donation. So I done been there, done that. Been there, done. I seen it. First thing kid gonna do is use logic. So that's why sometimes you got to tap back into that mindset. I never abandoned my kid like mindset. That's the best way to stay sharp, is to assume I don't know nothing. To assume I don't know anything. And the best way to do that, y'all know the old Socrates quote. Y'all know what I'm saying? The wise man is the man that knows that he knows nothing. Paraphrasing it. You know what I'm saying? But the best way to do that is to act like I'm childish in the mind. A kid literally hasn't experienced anything, so they don't know anything. So that's how they operate. When you tell them something, they're going to ask why or how or what or when. Like, they're going to ask questions. So every time something is brought to me, I operate like that. And that leads to me gaining an understanding. Instead of shunning them, give them a legit answer. Help them study and find an answer. Lead them in the right direction, whatever. But I done seen people get upset. I done seen people continue on lying to them, all that type of stuff. The main line, for sure. Appreciate that donation, most definitely. Oh yeah, man. Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on the on the spells being casted on there. You know, I never forget, man, this chick I dated in high school. To show you, man, I done been open-minded most of my life. You know what I'm saying? Muggs went to a church. I was like, man, I go to church with him. You know, I'm like a junior in high school. I don't really care. You know, you just dating somebody at a time. You're like, man, whatever, man. I go to this church. It ain't nothing. I'm black. I done been in church. I done been in plenty of churches. It ain't nothing. You just want me to go to a little church, whatever. Cool. I remember going into this church, fam. And this was the first time I went into a church where they started speaking in tongues, right? I mean, pastor had the whole church lit, speaking in tongues, you know? And Muggs is looking at me, right? Because I'm looking at him like, he didn't basically just snap his fingers and y'all speaking in tongues and act like there's some type of Holy Spirit. Okay, whatever. Obviously, I'm not catching it. Muggs was out here trying to really, I never forget it, man. Muggs is looking at me like, just say whatever comes to you, just say it and let it out. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm looking at y'all like the fools that y'all are. He basically is snap. How is this the Holy Spirit yet it's controlled? It follows a format. All right, we're going to all catch the Holy Spirit 30 minutes into the church service. Come on, fam. Like, man, y'all got to miss me with that. All right, everybody's going to start speaking in tongues now. And we speaking in tongues. Nothing is authentic about that. Nothing is authentic about that. That mud has snapped his finger. He done told you, okay, all right, we 30 minutes into the service. It's time for us to start speaking in tongues. It's time for somebody to catch the Holy Ghost. Let's go. Somebody catch it now. I'm going to touch your head, and now you got it. The most wicked person in the church then touched your head, and now you fell down. The most wicked person. The most wicked person in the church that touched your head, and all of a sudden he got the power of this God you believe in. Now you fell down. Most wicked person in the church. Most wicked person in the church. And you know, church started at 11 o'clock, 11:45. All right, we finna catch the Holy Ghost. Now let's get it. And I'm supposed to sit here and be subscribing to that? I never forget when I was in there and they started speaking in tongues. Everybody went from normal to tongues because that was the program. And I'm just looking. They was like, yeah, just say whatever's coming to your mind. Just let it out. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, this English that I'm speaking to y'all with this perfect sentence that I'm speaking, that's what's coming to my mind. I'm like literally doing that. What's coming to my mind is y'all okay, this is what y'all on. They was in that thing. I mean, they went from normal, hallelujah, amen, to who did I, man, I mean, Muggs was turning up on me. And it came out of nowhere. Now, I know about tongues and all that. Been around. Not been around, but I know about it. Knew of it at the time. That was my first time being in the actual church. I'm like, okay. I'm like, here we go. And once again, when it's somebody in the church that ain't falling for it, now they looking at me all like, you just ain't caught the spirits yet. Bro, y'all didn't catch it neither. If this wouldn't have been part of the program, y'all wouldn't have caught it. I'm just keeping it real. This thing, y'all ain't caught nothing. Muslim told y'all to speak in tongues, and it told y'all about it, and now y'all do it. I can go make up words. I can go do that. I can do that right now. Like I just did it. I can do that. It ain't got nothing to do with me catching the Holy Ghost. I can do that any moment I feel like it. Any moment I feel like it. Any moment I feel like it, I could go do that. You know what I'm saying? So when I sat there that moment and I didn't speak in not one tongue, like I say, looking at me crazy. Oh, you ain't caught the Holy Ghost. You gonna catch it? No, I'm not. I can go to them churches every day for the rest of my life, and I promise you, I would never act the way those folks was acting. Promise you. I can go to the church for the rest of my life where they speak in tongues and they catching the Holy Ghost. Promise you, I will never get up there and do that. Ever. Ever, fam. I promise you. And again, this ain't no knock on the people that catch it or whatever. Just don't look at me like, oh, okay, all right, you know what I'm saying? He just ain't called it yet. You gonna get it. No, it's just not that energy. That's not my energy. That's not my energy. That's not my lifestyle. It's just not me. You know what I'm saying? Don't look at me like I'm crazy, and I won't look at you like you're crazy. MB, appreciate that for sure, man. And this ain't no, you know what I'm saying? Like I say, I don't. More than 90% of the people that tap into me probably don't necessarily believe in what I believe. I'll try to tell you, I don't believe in much when it comes to that. When it comes to religion or religious beliefs, I don't believe in a lot. You know what I mean? Like I promise you. So I don't mind folks being Christian Baptists. Like I say, I just mind when the dialogue is not open and when folks assume. That's what I don't like. I'm not gonna go out of my way to thrash it when you are in my presence. I might get on here and say some funny stuff, you know, but I'm not gonna be in the presence of you and I don't know what you believe, and I'm just out here going crazy on what you believe or assuming some things. Like I say, when I'm on my platform, I'm gonna say what I want to say. But when I'm in the presence of other people, man, I'm respectful of other folks. I'm respectful of other folks, and I still know how to stand on what I fool with at the same time. Because everything don't have to be an argument. Everything don't have to come off as disrespectful. So I know how to respect other folks' belief system whole while standing on what it is, how it is that I see the world. I know how to do it. I know how to do it. It's not hard. I've had plenty of those conversations with folks. Man, I'd have had good conversations with Muslims. I'd have had good conversations with Christians, Hebrew Israelites, which the Israelite community was probably the hardest one for me, you know what I'm saying, to get along with after a certain period. Like them dudes, you know what I mean? Like, hey, chill, bro. Like, I hear you, but chill. You know what I'm saying? You gotta calm all that down. You're a little too aggressive out here with trying to tell me, certain things. Calm your tone down. You're not gonna talk to me crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing. I ain't finna let no man, another man yelling and hollering at me. We gotta calm all that down. We're gonna have a civilized discussion as men. Chill out. You know, so them Israelites, when you get amongst the wrong set of them, like they get a little aggressive with you to the point where you be having to check your temperature back in the day. Like, hold on. Like, hold up, man. Dude tripping. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, calm down, buddy. You know what I'm saying? Please. So I didn't had a few conversations with the Israelites back in the day to where, man, it was almost time to clash, bro. Because hold on, who are you talking to? Like, seriously, who are you talking to? Like that group right there was probably the group that I clashed with the most. Because when I say you couldn't. Now, some of them are not as, some of the branches of the Hebrew Israelites are not as bad, but like when you come across the wrong branch, bro, you can't tell them nothing outside of the King James version. Like, you can't tell them nothing. Some of them. I was like, this is ridiculous, man. It's like hardcore gangster Christianity. Like, that's what I was like, man, y'all are gangster Christians, man. Like, God, can't tell them nothing. And so I used to have some I had some classic clashes with some of them. Now I'm cool with some of them, man, because like not all of them are the same way. Because again, I stopped assuming. I stopped assuming, fam. Like that's what I stopped assuming. I'm like, Because I ain't gonna lie, the Israelites had me for a minute. I assumed all of them was like that. I assumed all of them wore those outfits, and y'all know what I'm talking about, and all of them was that aggressive with the Bible. And all of them just didn't listen to anything outside of the Bible. Man, their reputation with me was destroyed for a second until I came across some honest brothers in the Israelite camp. So I ain't gonna even lie. Like, that was one group of brothers that I was like, man, what y'all really be on? It was hard to have a civilized conversation with them. They get to yelling, and it's like, okay. Like I said, man, one thing we're not gonna do as men, we not all that hollering. We should be able to have a conversation without that hollering, especially when it's something like this, man. Then we start to act like the females that we be criticizing or the women that we be criticizing, man. When we start getting overly emotional in the conversation, fam, like, you should be able to have a different belief than me, and we not get emotional and get the hooping and hollering, jumping up and down, throwing hissy fits. I just seen grown men throw hissy fits. Why you jumping up and down, ready to square up with me because I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm telling you some things that ain't necessarily making sense with what you saying. Now you ready to square up. But then you will sit here and, man, women are emotional creatures. Man, I just seen some of y'all folks be way more emotional. I just seen some religious brothers be way more emotional than these women. And that's a fact. But y'all, man, with that being said, man, I got to make my way to this gym for the second batch of clients that I have for the day, man. I appreciate y'all tapping in with the kid, man. Appreciate the donations, man. We back to having difficult conversations, man. So I'm back to ruffling feathers, man. So I might have some conversations that may rub some of you all the wrong way, man. But hey, somebody got to have difficult conversations, man. Why not me? I feel like I'm well suited to have them, you know, because y'all know how it is being the black sheep. I'm the black sheep to the core, fam. Like, I am if you look up black sheep in a dictionary, they might as well put a picture of me. I represent everything that a black sheep stands for. So I'm here to have a conversation that a lot of other black sheeps would like to have, but really don't feel like they have a community to talk to and express these viewpoints and perspectives. That's where I come in, that, man, the voice of the voiceless, the voice of the black sheep, man. It's a large community of us, and I'm here to let you know that you are not alone. So you don't have to feel alone or isolated in that struggle, fam. Even if your whole family seems to be against you because of your belief system, I'm here to tell you that I'm with you. And it's a lot of other people in the stream that's with you. So you don't have to go through this thing alone, man. You don't have to feel that way. Reach out to the kid. You know what I'm saying? We could chop it up for sure. You know, but hey, man, I'm going to tap out. Let y'all get back to enjoying the rest of y'all Monday, man. Appreciate y'all. Y'all be easy. I'm out. Peace.